Hello everyone out there and welcome to another video here. My name is Devin Adams. I'm a Fortinet instructor over in Tempe, Arizona for Dynamic Worldwide Training Consultants, and I've been doing several videos on an NSE 5 lab demo using all the free VMs here. So in this lesson, and I'm really trying hard to wrap these up before the weekend's done, but in this lesson, we need to keep things a little bit more organized in our FortiManager, especially when you have different types of FortiGates, meaning like different roles that they play. Are they branch offices? Are they protecting data centers? Are they going to factories or, you know? And on top of that, when you start importing a lot of policy packages in, it can really get messy and really confusing from the management side of things. So the last video was way too long, so I'm going to try to break them up a little bit more, and this one's going to be shorter, hopefully. So, but once again, the goal of this video is to organize our FortiManager and the FortiGates that we're managing in our FortiManager just to keep things, neat and clean. So let's just dive right in. So here we go. I'm going to log into the FortiManager. All right, here we are. And I'm specifically talking about the policy and objects management pane because you see that when we import something into the FortiManager, the initial policies that were on the FortiGate at the time that it was being imported do come through. So, and they're there. We can either use them and manipulate them individually, or in our case, we essentially pointed the managed FortiGates to a different policy package here, antivirus. So these three right here are not really being used, and I never touched this default one here. So, I wonder if it'll let me delete it because I don't need it. I don't need to look at it, right? So, okay, there we go. So our very first concept that we're going to do here is going to be what's known as folders. Now, folders are what we can use to just keep things a little bit neater here. So I am going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call these, or I'm going to call this initial policies. All right. Here we go. And now we have initial policies, and it's a folder. So I can then move these into initial policies. Here we are. All right, almost there. And of course, I'm a strong believer in simplicity too, guys. So in other words, you can make folders within folders. All right, that's going to be all up to you about how much level of detail that you want. But as you can see here, now our initial policies that we're not really touching anymore, that were brought in to begin with, right? I'm keeping here in the initial policies just for like historical reasons, all right? Just so I can maybe see what it was like when I was first importing them in, so on and so forth. And our antivirus here is really our baseline that we've been using for all of our FortiGates that have come through, all right? Now that comes to our next topic. Our next topic is what's going to be known as the different types or roles that our FortiGates play in our infrastructure are going to have different responsibilities and different goals security-wise, right? For example, our local FortiGate is really our headquarters FortiGate. It's probably our beefiest FortiGate. We're eventually going to have everything tunneled back to the central location, all right? And it's not in the same field as our remote or branch office FortiGates. And then also we have a data center FortiGates, which are providing resources out to the internet that might be somewhere not even close to our headquarters, okay? So that's going to be our next lesson here, is to essentially break up our FortiGates into groups depending on their roles. So how in the heck do we do this? So while we accomplish this by going to our device manager and we make a device group. And what's nice about this is we can have like FortiGates with like goals being grouped together. All right, so I'm going to create a new group and I'm going to call this group our HQ FortiGates. So we might have 2 headquarters, right? We might have 3 headquarters, but it's essentially going to be, you know, the FortiGates that are the beefiest, right? So I'm just going to say main FortiGates. Okay, that was lame, guys, but I'm just kind of pulling examples out of my nose. And now I'm going to say that the remote Forti or the local FortiGate is a part of that group. All right, and then I hit OK. And you see how now I can take a look at my headquarters FortiGates, and I'm going to do just the same here for my branch offices. Okay, here we are. So I'm going to say branch offices or branch whatever. Here we go. Remote sites. All right. And who belongs there? It's going to be our remote FortiGate and our branch office FortiGates. All right. Ta-da! There we go. Oops. It's barking at me probably. Close, buddy. All right, here we go. Now, it did not like that. I bet you anything it was probably that space or something like that. Let's try that again. All right, create new. I'll just say branches. I'm surprised it did not have a error message there. So, remote offices. By the way, I keep the errors in here, all right? So, or the little hiccups, just because you might get them too. I might as well just work through them with you. All right, so that's what it looks like it was. It was probably not liking that space, but that's okay. But now we can keep an eye out on our branch offices, okay, and the status of our FortiGates there. All right, and now we have a third type of device group, and that's going to be our data centers. So I'll just say something like data center FortiGates. And like I said, this could be anything from, like, you know, a factory, a different warehouse, a different type of office. We're just grouping them in for simplicity. Okay? And now we can see them broken up. And if we just wanted to see a list of all of them down the way, we can. Okay? And that brings up another interesting little tip here, and that is our board up here. So as devices are down, as devices have pending changes, all right, they will show up here. And you kind of look at that as like a workflow that you can keep track of things. So, but now that we have our groups, what can we do from there? So let's go back to our provisioning, our policy and objects, all right? And let's go ahead and make a folder. All right. And this new folder is going to be called remotes. I'm just going to use that right now for an example. Okay. Or you know what? I'll say branch offices. And this one does let you do spaces. All right. And I'm going to keep all of my policy packages in the branch offices folder. All right, so this antivirus has essentially become like our baseline for our policies. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to clone this package. So I'm going to make a copy of it. I'm going to call it baseline. Okay, and I'm going to create it within our branch offices folder. All right, and that's going to duplicate all of our policy packages in antivirus. There it is. Pretty cool, huh? So, and this is where the magic really comes in, guys. So we know that a FortiGate can only have one policy package applied to it. So you really can't stack them, right? There is a larger view of things where you can do a header and a footer policy. That only happens when you have the global ADOMs turned on, all right? But here, I'm going to show you how we can essentially take advantage, okay, of having just one policy package for maybe several FortiGates and then make individual tweaks as we need them. And what's nice about this is that you don't have to try to maintain several policy packages. So what am I talking about here? Let's just do a real world example. I already feel like this video has been going on too long, but let's say that we've had a real problem with people looking at inappropriate material in this branch office. Okay, so you know, normally it's not an issue, but we just keep on getting complaints. So maybe we're going to create a web filtering profile for just this branch office that we're going to monitor only what they've been doing. So, but we really don't want it on our other offices because we haven't had the same kind of complaints. All right, so instead of having to clone a completely different package here, what we can do is that we can just clone the policy. All right, not the whole package, but just the policy. All right, so I'll actually just say copy. Or you know what? Maybe I do have to hit clone. Let me try clone. There we go. And I'm just going to say something like web monitor. Okay. And all right. Then here we're going to do a web filter profile that will monitor all the websites that they're going to. Okay? But what's nice about this is, you know, we don't need to essentially reinvent the wheel. I mean, it's already there. We're just making a tweak for one particular office. All right? So we're going to hit OK. Now, this is where the magic comes in because I only need to make that tweak, okay, on one office. What I'm going to do is that I am going to, and I probably should have split this up into two videos. I apologize, guys. But I'm going to go to my column settings and I'm going to say install on. And install on is where you can actually have the targets pointing to different FortiGates. So for example, right here it says, you know what, just go ahead and install it, okay, on our targets. But instead I'm going to say, you know what, this one that's going to get monitored is just going to be the branch office. And I hit OK. Okay. So in other words, it is going to drop down these policy changes to everyone, all right? But unless you're the branch office that we're monitoring, it's going to skip this one policy. And let's actually see if it works. So I'm going to go to my installation targets. And as you can see here, I have all of these selected, and I'm actually going to remove them. And the reason why is because we've copied it. We're trying to make this like in production, right? Example as possible. So I'm going to add now just the branch offices, and you see how nice that is? Now instead of selecting the individual ones, I can say just branches that we made before. Okay. And then I can go ahead and push it down. So now I come over here to baseline. I say install wizard. Okay. Cool. I hit next. All right, branches. I hit next. And it should push it to the remote and the branch FortiGates, as you can see. So we have our preview. Now it's giving me a warning saying, hey, you know what? You were using a different policy package before. Is this correct? And you can even look at the diff file, and we did that before. All right, and that's okay. That is okay. So we're going to hit install. Oops, mob by dead right there. We're going to hit install. And I'm just showing you that the remote FortiGate should come back with no changes, but the branch office will have the web filtering turned on. All right. And of course, this takes a moment. So, but you can see it happening here. All right. Whereas this one, it should just say things like, you know, not applying changes because it won't find any. All right. And I probably should pause the video when it's doing this just because it takes so long. But just to reiterate what I was talking about here, we can group FortiGates together, and then once they're grouped together, we can point to a single group, which helps when we have like security goals. And then the second half of it is also we can pick and choose particular firewall policies in a package to go to certain FortiGates or not. So, but let's actually see if it worked. All right. So, sweet. So I'm going to log into the FortiGates directly, and before I can even do this, by the way, I didn't have. I just realized I did not have my management turned on because I was trying to simulate like a best practice there. So let me go ahead and turn that on so I can log in. Oh, you know what? I'll do it from the WAN. In real life, you wouldn't see it like this, but I just want to kind of show you what it looks like. Here we go. All right, boom, boom. Oh, come on. Gotta love VNC. Anyways, so we hit OK. All right. And I'll also do that for the remote FortiGates, just so I can do it all from this Windows PC. All right, here we go. All right, boom, boom. And then let's go ahead and push those down. So, okay, so let's go back to our device manager. Once again, we're just turning on that access, right? So we can take a look at the changes and make sure that it's skipped it. All right, and you know what? Because we changed interfaces and things like that, I'll go ahead and just for fun, drop it again. Just for fun, because this is what I do on a Friday night, because it's awesome. All right, here we go. And that's going to go ahead and push it down. So, and then we'll be able to check it. All right. And I will pause the video here just so you don't have to watch the paint dry. So I'll be back in just a moment. All right. So as you guys can see, we have 2 successfuls. So we hit finish. Boom. Oh, look how beautifully synced those FortiGates are. And once again, we can hit branches just to look at the branch ones that we just did. But now, and this is only okay in a lab environment, so we're going to go to 10.200.1, oops, .2.1, which should be the remote FortiGates. All right. Just to confirm, and we'll do this read only. Oh, this is the branch one. Oh, that's right. The remote one is 3.1. All right, well, no big deal. We had to come here anyways. So if we go to IP4 though, you'll see here. All right. Oh, look at that. It actually did apply it also. Look at that. But then again, it did apply it there too. Sorry, guys. I completely failed on that. But that's okay because at least it's iterating a point here. So, because I didn't want to see that policy there. This was a really bad example, by the way, because um, I should have taken out that one right there. Because if I just wanted the monitor, that would accomplish it, and that way I wouldn't have to have two of them there. So that was my bad. So I'll fix that before the video is out. But as you can see, it went ahead and grabbed it. Unfortunately, the way that this is configured, all right, that top one would hit before this one down here, so you wouldn't actually see anything for our web wandering. Now, the whole point of this, though, is just to show you that some firewall policies, and this is what I mean by like this video wasn't wasted, because we can have 75–80% of our firewall policies be identical. All right, and then those few different changes that we need, we can apply just what we need to certain targets by doing that targets column off to the side. Let's take a look at our remote FortiGate. All right, so that one's at 10.200, oops, 10.200.3.1, and you'll see that it only has one firewall policy. Oops, I don't think I did a password. All right. Okay, policy and objects. And as you can see, there's only one there, the antivirus. All right, so yeah, for us to pick and choose which FortiGates get what targets. All right, so it just makes managing it a little bit more easier, and also how we can use folders in our policy packages to keep our policy packages a little bit more organized. So I'm going to stop there because I completely failed about this video being shorter. And when we get back, I'm going to take care of this data center FortiGate. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot.